Hello, my name is Finn. Welcome to my channel. This is Finn's Window. I'm here to do a collective reading today for whoever is in the collective that I'm tapping into who's going to see this message at some point. This is a timeless reading. Time and energy are fluid. And whenever this finds you, trust that you've been guided here for a reason. There's something here for you to receive. I've been feeling called to do collective readings again. I'd only done one and posted it on Instagram because I have been working through a fear of being seen. So we're getting there. But I feel like now is the time. There is so much shifting and changing in the collective of humanity on Earth right now. And I am gifted with a lot of downloads and insight into where we are, what we're doing, and what's helpful to know and understand. And I've wanted to share it, but I have been terrified because a lot of the things that I think, feel, and believe won't resonate with everybody else. Well, won't resonate with everybody. They will resonate with some people, but there's a lot of people they will not resonate with. And as a non-binary neurodivergent person in the world, I already have plenty of experience of not resonating with people and experiencing challenges as a result. But it seems like Spirit wanted me to be very, very sure that there's no getting out of here without being seen. So here we go. Today I have prepared a range of decks, and I'm feeling called to the Angels and Ancestors cards for the general theme of the reading. I will post a list of the cards. There's our Archangel Gabriel. I'll post a list of the cards, decks that I'm using below the video, and we can take it from there. So just going to tap in. I call to my higher self. I ask my ego to step aside. Great Spirit, if you could please tune me in and provide me messages with the most clarity possible for this collective. What do we need to hear? What do we need to know? What do we need to understand? Any messages from our ancestors invested in the healing and ascension of our lineages, deities, energies, entities invested in the highest good of all, Mother Earth, my homeland of Ireland era. Anything we need to see, know, or understand. I feel myself cutting and pasting other people's prayers together, but the parts that make sense for me. Words are spells. Prayers can be shared. And actually, the idea that we have to be completely unique and individual is part of what we're sending out of. We are unique, each of us, but we are a shared consciousness, and we could not possibly be entirely separate. That's the illusion that we're waking up out of, so just bear that in mind. Like I'm here for this. So first off, we got Trust and Thrive with the stag, which I am a big fan of. The energy of, I love the stag. And I just love that Trust and Thrive is the message, the overall message, or one part of two, because we have moved out of, we are moving out of, but we have literally just shifted out of the background frequency of fear, and we're moving into trust, and trusting that thriving is actually why we're here. And it can be very difficult to believe that, or we can know it and then at times doubt it because of what we're seeing in the world around us. But that is the last gasps of the system that is collapsing and the old way of being. So don't be fooled, and trust. Trust that you are here to thrive. Nature's got you, Mother Nature, Great Spirit, wherever you see yourself being supported by, whoever you see yourself being supported by. And then we've got Great Teacher, learn from spiritual experiences. And there's the sacred geometry in the background. That's the flower of life, I believe. And a dove. And that feels like just confirmation that, again, this is why we're here. Our souls came here to learn spiritual lessons. Mine includes being seen. I hate it. Oh my god, I hate it. I don't hate it. I'm talking myself into it. Thank you, Mama Cacao, for your support. But yeah, this is a complete and utter reframe. Everything we've been programmed with has told us that we're here to succeed. We have a purpose, and the purpose is related to work. And that once we achieve that, we're going to find the success and happiness that we have been looking for all along. Even though we were pretty happy before we started being programmed with this belief that there was something wrong with us and we needed to figure out what we wanted to do with our lives in order to be happy. So yeah, it's not quite as simple as that, actually. I do randomly slip into accents, particularly English accents. I don't know why. I'm not apologising for it. Whoa! Heart Guardian. Love and let yourself be loved. Now this, honestly, is one of the primary lessons we are learning, because personally, this one's been a struggle. Holy God. Yeah. The thing is, we can't give love without receiving it. We can think that we can, but what we're doing is not actually love, because love is an energy. It's like money, and I don't mean that it's the same, but I mean in the way that you can't spend money if you didn't receive it first. If you don't have it, you don't have it to spend. We must receive. We must. And it's extremely challenging in a lot of ways, or it can be. If you have it nailed, please feel free to drop it into the comments and give me some tips. But this has been the core of it all, because essentially what we've learned is that our worth exists outside of ourselves and we have to go and earn it, when actually love is an energy that is available all of the time, and we have an access to it right here in our heart. That's why this is the Heart Guardian. This right here, this is our portal, our access point to love, always. It's always here. Now, a lot of us end up shunned from our own heart space because we get taught we're not allowed to be in it, we don't deserve to be in it until somebody else gives us permission, somebody else gives us access, and this is the basis for the dysfunction of our relationships. It starts in families, continues into schools and friendships, and then into romantic relationships and workplace relationships and all community-based relationships. And the core of it is we're feeling like we don't deserve to be in here, but this is your heart, this is my heart. I live here, I live from here. I have been learning to rebuild my home in my own heart space, and I feel like this is a really important part of the work. And honestly, if you make this the basis of your work, your approach to life, if you're not sure what else, if you feel lost, if you don't have a daily practice, if you don't have anything that you're really sure of, but you know love is why you came here, love is the most important thing there is, this is a practice to start with, heart-based meditation, and there are plenty of them on YouTube. If I find any that I think are useful, I will link them. But just the energy of sitting with your heart space. I find cacao extremely helpful for this, as many people do, but you don't need anything outside of yourself. Your frequency is your medicine, and it exists in your heart, so you can tune into that anytime. A lot of the time when we're in the mind and we're trying to meditate and we're just looking at our mind and thinking of all the thoughts, but that's literally keeping our focus of our attention in our mind. Our mind is not our focus. Our focus doesn't come from our mind, because our focus can look at our mind. So we can bring our focus, our awareness, down to the heart, and the mind can keep doing whatever it's doing, but we're focused on the heart. And when we're focused on the heart, we're feeling into the heart space, the physical center. This may be difficult if you are a survivor of complex trauma, if you are dissociated from your body, and I'm not saying that this stuff is easy and it's just a one switch kind of thing, because I am a survivor of complex trauma and I was dissociated for many years in many periods of my life. But this practice of bringing my awareness into my heart, even just recognizing what's there, even if it's nothing, there's nothing you don't feel anything there yet, that's okay. Just bringing this practice of focusing onto your heart rather than your mind can open gateways to all sorts of things that you couldn't possibly imagine from the mind, because the mind is limited by everything that it's ever seen. The heart knows the entire cosmos, the whole universe, all that is. It is the portal into it, so it can do far more than the mind. The mind is a servant, not a master. I feel like we need one more from the Angels and Ancestors. Sometimes it's American accents, by the way. None of them are that good, but I don't care. I'm having fun, and that's all that matters when it comes to my accent work, anyway. Whoa, okay. I wondered if you were going to come out, because you did already. Because I read my own energy first. I wanted to be clear on what was mine and what was everybody else's. And I know that there's a lot of overlap, but that's why I read for myself first. But we got Hunter, track down your fears and desires. Now this came out, I did another collective reading which I posted and then removed because I had a vulnerability hangover. And it's funny that this card is the card that reminded me of it, because what this card speaks of in the guidebook is what we fear, we also desire. There is something in each fear that is, there's a kernel of desire within it. And I realized this when this card came to me last year when I was doing some work on my fear of being seen. I realized that was what it was, because I want to be seen. I want to be witnessed. I want to be seen, understood, loved, accepted, appreciated, connected. But I'm also absolutely fucking terrified of being seen, criticized, torn down, ostracized, exiled. And both of them come from the same root. So this might be something to sit with. If you think you know what you want but you're struggling to get there, consider what you desire and then consider what you fear about it, and allow both to just exist. One doesn't need to write off the other. We're coming into an age of sitting with the duality of things in a non-dual perspective, where that's an experience and that's an experience, and they both exist. They don't write each other out. They don't cancel each other out. And when we can sit in that space of observing two things that technically would write each other off, or a paradox, that's when we can move out of the dualistic mind space where everything must be one or the other. And the more we do this, the more we bend our brains, we expand our consciousness and our brain's ability to understand there are things that it does not understand, and to surrender control, which is really what we want. So consider what you fear and what you desire. And the fears are often trying to teach us what they think we need to know based on past experiences. And that is useful information, but it's not a guidebook, because we're not living in the old world anymore. This is a time to let go of what we've been holding that feels restrictive, repetitive. Like we're coming here to transcend out of the karma that we came into this life with. And by now, if you're old enough to be watching a video like this, you've probably got a fairly good handle on a lot of what's coming up for you. So allow yourself to recognize where you have fears, but don't allow the fears to become the guide on the path, because fear is a guide to staying still. Trust. Trust is a guide to moving forwards. So we get that. We get the Earth Guardian, stay rooted and grounded, and I love this card in particular because that's a non-binary being, as in they don't have a gender, and the guidebook specifically mentions it, which is lovely because there are still an awful lot of limiting constructs of the old world in spiritual communities and scenes, and a lot of transphobic hate being masked as enlightenment being shared. Queerphobic in a variety of ways, actually. Racist, all sorts of other things. There are all sorts of old beliefs still present, and that is why it is the most important right now that we root into ourselves. And I want to be really clear, I don't give a fuck if I say something that you don't agree with. I don't want you to agree with me. If you don't agree with it, if it isn't true for you, don't take it. I'm not here to tell you what to think. I'm not here to tell you how to feel. I'm not here to tell you who you are. You're here to get to know you. That's why we're here. I'm here to get to know me, which is what I'm doing. So yeah, and again, we've got the heart space, green, colour of the heart chakra. There is a lot of that kind of energy coming through right now, and I feel, yeah, it's really got to be the purpose, the container that we move from has got to be love. If it's anything else, it's fear. That is one duality, love and fear. And the thing is, it's not actually a duality, because fear cannot hold love, but love can hold fear. We can feel love and feel fear at the same time, but when we just feel fear, when we're coming from that, when that's our perspective, all that creates is more fear. Just another white bird flying over the top of me. Then Archangel Gabriel came out. This is the medicine guardian, be open to healing information. And maybe that includes this reading, but maybe it includes other things too. I'm sure it does, because this is, as I say, a timeless reading, and I'm not reading for just today. I'm reading for the energies of the present and what's moving. So this could be playing out for months or years. But yeah, healing is really such an important practice right now. And I know that there are so many things that we can be working on, and I know we can turn healing into a project, which I kind of did. I kind of have no regrets at the same time. I do recognise that some of it was my avoidance of being seen and held by other people, but it was coming up because it was what was in me, and it was what needed working through. And healing right now is so supported. The energetics of Earth right now are activating what is still stuck, the karma, the energies that are stuck in our bodies that are ready to be released as we feel into the stories behind them and start to understand what experiences we have had and that we've come to move beyond. Because the soul just wants to have experience. It's not looking to have the right experience, it's looking to have the growth experience. What's new for me? And karma is lessons that we have been repeating over and over again, that we've been stuck in a lot of cases. I know being seen is one of my biggest. I've been here before and I've been murdered for what I've been out in the world doing, being seen doing, being a thorn in the side of the organised structure of society. And that fear lives in a lot of us. A lot of us have had that experience. And now is a time where a lot of us came here because it was like, right, this time on Earth, I'm waking up and I'm bringing other people with me, or I'm creating space for other people to follow, which is all I wanted to do. All I want to do is get free and help other people get free and become sovereign, because the freedom, the lack of freedom that we're experiencing at the moment is from believing that our power exists outside of ourselves, which is the basis of all of our structures of society. So we're here for something new, baby. All right. Interestingly, I want to go to the tarot. This is the Queer Tarot, and I can't remember who it's by. It doesn't say on the front of the guidebook. Ashley Malesso and Chess Needham. It's the book. And this is the deck. Back, the cards themselves are gorgeous. And a reimagining of the Rider-Waite-Smith with a massive range of diversity and representation, which I love. I can't really bridge shuffle this deck because it's a little bit too thick. It just feels perfectly appropriate. We're into thick room here. Also, I realised my owl is making lots of noise, but I got guided to wear it because last night I was watching a Swimming Through the Void reading, and he said owls as a sign were going to be coming through a lot, and then I've got within an hour guided to start watching Labyrinth, which I've been meaning to watch for ages, because that line at the end where she says, "You have no power over me," has been ringing in my head as I have been reclaiming my power. And the entire first few minutes of the movie, there's an oil motif the whole way through it. And then I was doing my hair, and I have a range of necklaces that I had brought down, up from downstairs, that were all snarled together. And I saw the oil, and I was like, "Oh, oil!" And I went to pick it up, and it felt like it was all tangled, and I was like, "Oh, I'm going to have to sit here and sort all this out." And something in me said, "Just pull it, it's going to come loose." And I was like, "I don't know." But I went with it, and I just kept pulling and lifting, and eventually all the other necklaces just fell off, and this one was free. And I was like, that's a message. And I got guided to put it on this morning as I was getting ready to do this reading. So oils represent wisdom, the higher perspective at night. The eagle represents the higher perspective in the day, because the eagles see best during the day, owls see best during the night. So they all can represent the higher perspective in the shadow realm. And the shadow realm doesn't mean bad, it just means what's not seen, what's in the dark. And that is the work. It's what we're here to do, is get to know ourselves, what is in our shadow, what we've been forced to send in there, and what is ready to come out, be seen, witnessed, loved and transmuted. So, what is challenging us right now? I think that's the best thing to ask this day. What is challenging this collective right now, Spirit? What is challenging this collective right now? What do we need to know and understand about our challenges? The King of Pentacles. And that's why I love this deck. These cards are gorgeous. And there's so much in the symbolism, and there's more than is in the Rider-Waite-Smith original. Maybe a little bit more on this. What's challenging us right now? I mean, what I'm getting is Seven of Cups reversed. What's challenging us is the patriarchal structures of the system, and Seven of Cups represents illusion, amongst many other things, but illusion and choices that we can't actually see the true outcomes of. They might look like they're one thing up front and be something else later. What's challenging us right now? Whoa. Three of Swords in reverse. And the Wheel of Fortune. Oh, okay. So, what's challenging us is what we're leaving behind. The challenge is to leave it behind. The Three of Swords represents many things, primarily, or for me, it's primarily heartbreak. And coming in reverse is, to me, speaking of the heartbreaks that we still haven't left behind. I discovered recently I had a lot of pain stuffed up around my heart, like a person might stuff newspaper inside their clothing for warmth, which I was reminded of when I watched The Day After Tomorrow recently. As in, it was stuffed up there for protection. And I realised that in order for me to heal, I had to feel this visceral pain from really painful childhood experiences that I had stuffed up around my heart with stories about what it meant, why it was there. And as I was releasing this, I had to feel it, but I also had to allow the stories to go with the energy. And the stories had helped me make sense of myself and my world. And it's an extremely difficult time when we've spent a long time creating this stability, this these constructs of the world, are a sense of self, who we are. Pentacles represent earth, so this is our groundedness into reality. We have a lot of illusions and heartaches that we're holding on to, stories that don't make sense anymore, heartaches that are ready to be released. And we got the Wheel of Fortune, which represents karma. And the most important thing to know about the Wheel of Fortune is the story talks about there being an energy that's moving up, an energy that's at the top, and then an energy that's coming down again. So wherever you are, you're not going to be there for long. Change is a constant. But the thing that's most important to know is we are the center of the wheel. Our consciousness is not affected by the turning. There is nothing that can happen to us in the physical that can affect us in the spiritual. It can't harm us. We can't be destroyed. There's nowhere for us to go. And recognizing this perspective of everything that's happening is happening, and it's absolutely okay to feel whatever I feel, but I am still also the conscious center of the wheel that is just witnessing it all happen, because from the center it doesn't matter which way the wheel's going or what's at what point around it. So I feel like what we're being challenged by right now is letting go, moving on, and it's very, very difficult. We're also being challenged by having our focus drawn to this. Like, the world is in fucking chaos. Now, the world has been in chaos for a long time. And I know that in some places in the world it is worse than it has ever been there. But it has been that bad at places on this earth the entire history of humanity. War is part of our evolution, and we are evolving out of it. I don't actually believe that humanity started that. I believe humanity was infected with war as a frequency, which is a whole other story. What I'm not bringing out in this video. But you can look for other sources, and you probably know already what I'm talking about, some of you. But I don't believe that we came here to keep it alive. We came here to let it die and move on. And with the understanding that where our attention goes, energy flows, it's really, really critical to recognize, okay, so that means if we want peace, we must focus on peace building. How can we build peace? How can we build connection? How can we build community? How can we build resilience? How can we reclaim our power from these systems outside of us which have taken it from us and made us believe that we need them to have it because they can be trusted with it? Have you seen any evidence of that? I haven't. So, yeah, that's the challenge. As much as the world is trying to get our attention for all the horrifying things that are happening, we need to be giving our attention to what we are capable of doing. What can we change? What can we influence? And not from a state of, I'm some kind of savior, but what does my soul want me to do? Why did I come here? What is my role? We need every single kind of person, every single kind of resistance, every single kind of change. And when I say resistance, I don't mean that word's challenging, because non-resistance is an incredibly important part of liberation. Like, not trying to fight the fact that these things are happening right now, accepting that where we are right this moment, that's non-resistance, and it's a necessary baseline for them being able to make any change. So what is helping and supporting us right now? Like this deck. This is a classic Rider-Waite-Smith, because it's really thin and I can shuffle it properly. Whoop. Says a bunch of cards come out. And I'm non-binary, but my pronouns are she, they, and sometimes I say she, sometimes I say they. I don't really care what anybody else thinks about it. So what is supporting us right now? Okay, come on now. Alright, I can bridge shuffle these, but actually the standard shuffling is kind of challenging, but they're really slippery. Slippery little fucker. My housemate once said as she was trying to clean her fish tank, and the fish made a bid for freedom. So, what is helping us right now? And we got the Tower, the Ace of Swords in reverse, and the Chariot. So as much as it may seem like the destruction and chaos that's going on in the world right now is a bad thing, we need it. And I'm not saying that we need harm, but the systems that are doing the harm need to be seen in order for this to happen. And they've been showing their hand for quite a while. And more people are waking up to just how fucked they are. So this is absolutely necessary. Tumult, chaos, and we are coming out the other side of it. We're still in it. We're not going to get out of it today, but this is necessary, and it is important, again, to trust. Come back to that heart center. Where do I need to be for myself right now? What does my soul want me to do? The Ace of Swords supporting us in reverse, I thought was interesting, but I realised that often when the Ace of Swords is upright, that swords is mental energy, air energy, and it's often represents clarity. And in reverse, what it's giving me is we are learning to not trust just the mind. We are learning to trust our energy, where it wants to take us, what it wants to do, and that we are going to find out when we are along for the ride what it is that we're here for. And I don't mean like in general the whole of our life. I mean like, why am I going in this direction? What is there here for me to do? When we get where we're going, we'll know, because our energy will tell us this is the thing to do. Something will arise, something will be invited, something will be offered. We'll get a chance to do something. I got a chance to help someone last week in a way that someone had helped me a few weeks before. And I was so grateful after I left that I had just trusted all of my nudges about where to go. I'd been seeing signs the whole time I'd been there, and there was 2 young girls running around while their mum was shopping, who had kind of opened me up to the energy of self-sovereignty and doing whatever we want. This young girl was, all I heard as I went past them was, "I'm not waiting here for you all day, I'm tired." I think this girl was like 6, maybe 7. And she had her wee sister with her, and she was saying this to her mum, who was like on the 5th aisle of 20 in the supermarket. And I was just feeling for the mother, but highly entertained by the daughter. And then she came through when I was at the tills, which I had been guided to this one particular till. I usually go to self-checkout and I didn't do it this day. And I was getting caught in this kind of logic. Like, I knew what was going on. And she came through and she cleared the way, full bala. It was just, excuse me, I need to get through, and like made everybody move. And as she did this, the interactions that she had with people, I saw a person clearly that I had been projecting onto, and that was the person that I actually got the chance to help. And this is what I mean. We're being led by forces that we can't control or understand. We're not meant to control or understand them. We're meant to trust them, which comes back again to trust and thrive. There are spiritual forces here for the highest good of all, and they are guiding us. They've been guiding us. We are being called on to trust that even more. So, I'd like to ask, what is this collective not seeing that it will be helpful for us to see? Okay. My friend tells me I usually say the word interesting a lot during my readings, but I haven't done that a lot today. I think you're getting the vibe though. So, what did I just ask? What are we not seeing? It'll be helpful for us to see, and we get death in reverse, and we are not seeing death clearly. Four of Cups in reverse are opportunities. Knight of Swords and Ten of Pentacles in reverse. What we're not seeing is that death is nothing to be afraid of, because it isn't actually real. And I don't mean that our physical bodies don't die and decompose, but the concept that there's something ending, other than the connections that we have with people in the physical. You know, obviously if people don't have spiritual connection and feel like once we leave we're gone, for them death may feel real, but it isn't. It just isn't. Those of us who've experienced the other side know. And this fear has been used against us again and again. The fear of death is used to control us, because we're taught to believe that we have one life. We're here to be as successful as possible, which is the Ten of Pentacles talks about financial success, abundance, family stability. And the Four of Cups often talks about an offer of something that we are not seeing, like the universe is offering us something, the divine is offering us something, but we're so bored, disillusioned, fed up. We're just sitting there with our arms crossed, our eyes closed under a tree. The opposite of the Buddha energy. It's not an attempt to wake up, it's an attempt to go to sleep. And I feel like we are not seeing the opportunities of allowing the old to die. Our old selves, our old structures, our old ways of being. And we are not seeing how these structures are, you know, the rushing to get where Knight of Swords is the fastest energy in the deck, rushing to get where they need to go, but whoever is going to be in the way be damned. I don't care. I'm headed where I'm going. That kind of energy. And headed for the Ten of Pentacles outcome, which isn't actually abundance. Like, this Ten of Pentacles in reverse to me is like, this, what we're programmed to go for isn't what abundance is. Abundance is, I have everything that I need to do everything I want to do right now. And I mean from my soul's perspective, not from my ego's perspective. What my soul wants, I have everything I need for, and it comes towards me as soon as I need it. And we can block it, so we can come to believe that it doesn't exist. But it is the natural law of the universe. Abundance is a law. When people talk about the law of attraction, that's what they're talking about. Now, there is a lot of confused information out there about the law of attraction, and I'm not keen to add to it. But I do just want to be really clear, like, before humanity came here, all of life on Earth had everything it needed. That's just the way it is. Now, like I say, we have been infected by a frequency of war, which involves scarcity, which is a necessary belief for war to even be possible. Why would we fight if we all felt like we had everything we needed? There'd be nothing to fight over. So scarcity is necessary to get us to fight, and I just don't buy it anymore. So this is a thing that we are collectively, and I don't mean necessarily the collective watching this reading, but all of us in humanity we have not been seeing this clearly, and I believe we are beginning to. So I would like to ask for some help and guidance. Who are we being supported by right now? This is the Keepers of the Light Oracle. Who or what is supporting us right now? Who can we call on? Feeling the need of a little extra energy, a little guidance, a message, a sign, an element of abundance, which is not just money. It's whatever we need. Who can we call on? Archangel Michael, my fave. I said him earlier, and it wasn't actually him, but that's because he was here already. Archangel Michael is trusting heaven. You are safe. Angels stand close. Surrender your concerns and allow a miracle to occur. Now, I can't show you it because I'm recording on my phone, but I have a post-it on the back of my phone inside the clear plastic cover that says, miracles only require belief. Because I had to keep reminding myself, you have to believe in them for them to be true. And in order, at least believe in their possibility. You don't need to believe, I need this and exactly this is going to happen. But you can say, I need help and I trust in miracles. Like, I believe miracles are possible. And just let it go. Don't let the mind start to be like, well, how's it going to happen? I mean, it may try to do that, but again, come back to the heart and then just follow the energy wherever you're being guided. But you can call on Archangel Michael if you resonate with Archangel Michael to help you anytime you need. And Archangel Michael, you can see his sword on the front there. Archangel Michael's sword of light is a light of truth and clarity. It's really good for helping us get clear of limiting beliefs, illusions, cords, connections to other people. Now you can ask Archangel Michael to bring that sword of light and disconnect you from anything that no longer serves you. You can keep it broad, or you can say, I want to disconnect from this relationship or this relational pattern, which is actually a better way to phrase it, because if you try to release yourself from one relationship and it was merely an iteration of a pattern, first of all, it won't work, because if you haven't actually become clear on the pattern, the energy is still there, the pattern will continue to repeat. But if you ask him to bring a sword of light and help you get clear on why you are connected in order for you to release it, that's a whole different thing. Now be careful what you wish for, because when I have asked for help with things, I have been unstoked on the results at times in the short term, but in the long term it's been absolutely what I needed, so I don't have any regrets either. Commander Ashtar, call to action. Take charge, lead by example, walk your talk. I mean, this is essentially the message / energy that I've been getting, which is it's time for me to just step out and be myself visibly for other people to see, with no regard for the consequences. It's not up to me what the consequences are. I can only do what my soul is guiding me to do. And we all came here. I don't care what you do, what you think you're capable of or not capable of. You are serving a purpose by existing. It doesn't matter if you don't do a single damn thing out in the world beyond your daily life. You don't need to be a superstar, a rock star, some super well-known being. Fame is another construct that's dying, giving people kudos and power just for being known. That's a construct of the old. Our frequency, the energy that is coming from us, is creating the world around us all day, every day. So you are affecting the world whether you believe it or not, whether you understand that yet or not. And a lot of you do understand that, so this is just a reminder. And it's really important that we do show up in the world as our authentic selves more and more. Find the masks that are keeping us hidden and allow them to fall away and let our heart be seen. And I say this knowing, because I've said this in a reading, I am going to get endless opportunities to do this myself upcoming, so can't wait for that. I actually am very much looking forward to that, thank you. White Eagle, Ancestor Spirit. Connect to your lineage. A family wound or pattern can be healed now. Now, particularly for queer family and PTSD survivors and lots of us, family is a challenging area of life. And I am not telling anybody what to do, ever. But what I will say is, I chose the family that I came into, and I believe that we all did. Now, I don't believe that we came here to definitely experience the harm that we experienced. We all came here as souls able to make choices, and the choices that all of us made are our own responsibility. So the people that did us harm, that's their responsibility. But what can be really helpful with healing is understanding where the patterns that we experienced exist throughout the lineage, particularly for cultures where we've been colonized, like here in Ireland and around the world, Indigenous cultures everywhere. Especially where a big part of the practice, which is always part of the practice with colonization, is assimilation. So a lot of us actually have ancestry of the colonizers as well as the colonized within us. I do. And finding those traps within me has been really important, because that war of colonization was still raging within my own DNA, in my own energetic system. And I had to find both sides and love them both and allow for accountability and atonement to happen. And it's still an ongoing piece of work. But it is really crucial to understand, because I chose the lineages that I chose because of my soul lineage, the experiences that I've had before. I came here and chose this family because I wanted to learn particular lessons or get chances to learn particular lessons and ascend out of patterns. I didn't come here to stay in suffering. I came here to recognize this suffering exists here and I am choosing differently. So connecting to ancestors can be really helpful, especially because once we pass, most of us see clearly our role in things, and we want to do whatever we can to help anybody else who's still experiencing any effects of what we did while we were here. I have family members, that's my ancestors board over there, who've been supporting me in my growth and healing, and often show up and point out, this thing that you're experiencing came from me, and I'm taking my responsibility for this. So when I'm dealing with someone in the physical who's triggering a wound, I'm not going to take my anger out on them, because that would actually do harm. But my ancestors in spirit are offering for me to yell at them, scream at them, tell them, F you, this, that, the other, you did this is a whole thing. And that's not my whole self, that's the part of me that's holding the wound, and it needs someone to scream at. It needs to give that energy back. I don't want this anymore. It wasn't fair that this happened to me. And as we do this energy transmutes and it leaves. And what's left afterwards is the soul recognition. I love my ancestors with all of my heart. There's still conflict in there, but I love them. Love is unconditional. Doesn't mean I don't hold them accountable for their actions. Doesn't mean I don't see them clearly, but I do love them. And they love me, and they support me, and they have led me to things that have been absolutely critical for my growth. So even if you don't have a connection with your family in the physical here, which I completely understand, at some point in your healing, you may find it helpful to connect with your lineage if you haven't already. And you can have whatever level of honest relationship you need with them, because they can take it. And then finally, we have Saint Germain, karma releasing. Move beyond drama, create your own path, make room for good energy. And I feel like this is just a confirmation of what we were being guided to, which is it's time to leave the old stuff behind. Yes, we needed to understand it. I needed to understand the trauma that I had been through. I needed to understand the patterns. I needed to understand the harm that it had done. And now that I have, and I have done a lot of the releasing of the energy that was stuck within me, and I've been rewriting my understanding of what happened, I don't need to focus on it anymore. Not the stuff that I've worked through. More may come up, I'm sure it will. But this way of being that we have collectively been working through in the last 16 years of Pluto and Capricorn particularly has been getting really clear on what we don't want anymore. And this age of Pluto and Aquarius is, what do we want? How do we want our world to be? How do we want ourselves to be? Create your own path. What does my soul want to do? How do I want to contribute? And we don't need to imagine the big picture and all the detail of everything that's going to happen and how we're going to contribute to all of that. All we need to do is believe that the world is headed into something more beautiful, more connected, more loving. We're moving beyond war. And from that belief, where does the energy arise? Where does my soul say, this is what I want to do? This is how I want to help. I want to do stuff. And for me today, it was reading. So it could be anything. It could be anything. I started reading cards 4 years ago, although I realised in recent years I was channeling my whole life. I just didn't use cards. But this this method of communication is one that I love. I follow a really amazing set of readers on YouTube, and I have friends who read and family who read. And I just, this works for me. There are a lot of things I want to do, actually. I'm doing other things that scare the shit out of me even more than this, like singing, because I have extensive trauma in that area too, but it's all about my voice. I came here to share from my voice, and I believe we all did, to some degree. Our voices are power. Words are spells. Energy, sound energy, affects the world around us. All energy affects the world around us. So, what is it you're being called on to create? What is this collective being called on to create? Since I mentioned it. I'm sitting at the front window of my living room watching people do deliveries and things. I really like this spot. Get to just watch the world go by. There's a good bit of sky visible in the very high-rise area of Belfast City. What is this collective being called on to create? I'm gonna get one card from this deck. This isn't actually the deck that's gonna answer me. Whoa! Regeneration! Oyster mushroom. That's hilarious. I've also just realised I haven't been pointing out any numbers, but that's because both these sets of tarot have fucking Roman numerals, and I have dyscalculia and find them very difficult to read, so I'm not going to do anything about that. But the number 9 is on the Oyster Regeneration card, and that just feels perfect. Like, we are regenerating, and actually, something I was expecting to come through because I got it before, when I was reading the energy before I started recording, but we are changing the way we create. We're not doing it from the old energy of rush. This is the Knight of Swords energy that I was talking about. It doesn't actually lead to this 10 of Pentacles. Do you know how we know this doesn't lead to, like this whole game that we're playing doesn't lead to happiness? Have you ever seen a really rich person who looks like they're happy? They might look, in the short term, like they're having a really good time with whatever they're doing, but they literally cannot rest. There's no rest available at the top end of this pyramid scheme. There's a lot of control, and a lot of people believe that they're benefiting from that, but at a soul level, they're not. And this game was always rigged. It was never about everybody having a fair chance to get to this. Like, it's a pyramid. There's only a single point at the top. And pyramid shape has just appeared on the screen behind and the music I'm playing right now. So we have to do things differently. Hustle is over. We're not here to hustle. We're here to move slowly through the world. And not slowly in a way that's boring, although boredom may actually be something that we need to get over, which is funny that came out, because a nervous system that is used to terror and upregulation will actually find, I'm neurodivergent, ADHD, autistic, I have found slowing down incredibly challenging at times, because I'm wired for chaos. Or I was wired for chaos, but it's starting to change, and that's actually part of what we're doing, is changing the wiring of our entire nervous systems, because we're wired as individual nervous system beings, but we're actually connected to each other, so we're reconnecting to each other, regenerating our connection to each other, the way these individual oyster mushroom fruiting bodies are actually all connected, because all mycelium are connected. That's how they work, that's how they operate. So what are we being called on to create? I love when the cards do this. She who flows, ease, being open to change, go with the flow of life. Now that energy I was talking about, the energy that's guiding us to go places and do things, it's not heart attack, oh my god, I need to go do. That's not guidance, that's a response to a crisis. Guidance, flow, is a slow, centered, I'm moving this direction because it feels good kind of thing. And if you struggle to find that frequency in your daily life, I feel you. I have been there. I still struggle, and it's a thing to practice. And the thing with practice is it's not good to start with, and that's fine. You'll try and fuck up. You'll try and fuck up again, but you'll get a little bit further, and it will just eventually become easier. And again, I'm saying this to myself because the perfectionism is real, yo. What are we being called on to create? What are we being called on to create? What is this collective being called on to create? I feel like Rebecca's done talking. What are we being called on to create? 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 This deck doesn't want to talk either. Is it you? Bridge shuffling around deck. It's a whole other level of skill that I don't have. Oh. Jesus, okay, I'm just going to take this as the read because I don't even know how that happened. The ocean, the shapeshifter, the creator, and the king. Lol. The ocean. I absolutely love these cards. It's the Well Done Known Archetypes by Kim Kranz, I think. Pretty sure. The shapeshifter. The creator. And the king. I feel like we're being called on to create an entirely new paradigm for masculine energy. And I want to be really clear, we have all things in the universe have masculine and feminine energy. And when I say those words, they're literally just words. They're just pointing to something, they're not the thing. This is not about human gender, this is not about physical bodies. Energy has polarities, polar opposites, yin and yang, masculine, feminine. They have different properties and they completely harmonize with each other. They are necessary. One needs the other. They couldn't exist alone. And when one is out of balance, the other is out of balance. And we are extremely imbalanced in humanity on Earth right now in our masculine energy, which has caused an imbalance in the feminine energy. And the masculine energy is the container within which the feminine energy births life. And in this program we're in at the moment, the masculine energy is doing all of the work. It's creating everything, it's doing everything, it's forcing everything, it's rushing. And I don't know if you've noticed, but that's not working very well. So we are being called on to create entirely new, to shapeshift into entirely new beings, things, ways of life. I had to stop there because the video ran out and started playing ads for, I'm not going to say what for, in the background. Yeah, we're being called to create balance. Like the ocean can represent the feminine, the internal world, the emotion, the unknown potential, limitless potential. And whether or not this resonates, I really believe it to be true. We're here to be creatives, and that means creating in every way that feels good to us. I was yesterday planning to do some writing, and my friend sent me a picture of their cat's paw doing the cat stretch. And I was so inspired. I fucking love cats. And when they do the little thing with the paws and the peak, I can't cope. And I was moved to draw it, so I just found myself sitting drawing this cat paw. And I don't particularly feel like I'm good at drawing. In fact, I've had a lot of struggle in that area too. But I actually did not a bad job, and I enjoyed it. And as I was saying this to my friend, I was like, why is it that when I want to write music, I suddenly find myself drawing? It's because creative energy doesn't have rules about what it's going to do. It's us that puts that on it. We are called on to let go of our preconceptions about what things should or shouldn't be, what we should or shouldn't be doing, and allow creativity to flow through us, whatever way that means. Now, there are a lot of layers of toxic masculinity, dominance to strip back in order to get there, because we've been taught that everything we do is meant to be good. We're meant to be good at things, and if we're not, we're open to criticism, and then we start feeling shit about ourselves. That was never the point of creativity in the first place. So allow yourself to create, allow yourself to play. Let your inner child do something. Even if it's for 5 minutes, even if it's for 30 seconds, allow yourself to make a weird noise, sing a song. I came down singing I'm Forever Blowing Bubbles this morning because that was what my inner child was feeling like singing. I don't question it, and often they turn out to be messages anyway, but we're not getting out of here by taking things too seriously, which sounds counterintuitive given what's going on in the world, but that's kind of the point. This system that we are moving out of, that is crumbling and that is doing its fucking level best to harvest as much of our energy as possible before it dies, wants our energy, wants our fear, wants our depression, our despair. And when we put all that to the side and tune into the heart and let the inner child do whatever it needs to do, we are putting the frequency of freedom out into the world. And that changes things in ways you cannot possibly imagine. Although if you've seen it, you already know. So, okay. I think that's the read. Thank you all for being here. I want to thank my guides, your guides, all the spirits, energies, and entities involved in this reading and in helping us as humanity to ascend right now, because we need the help and we are grateful for it, or I am anyway. So thank you for being here. Please like and subscribe for more, and I will see you all on the next one.